Hey everybody, welcome to the Portsmouth Basketball Podcast. This is part 2 of an interview series. If you haven't heard part 1 yet, go back and check it out. But for those of you who are here at the right time, thank you so much for listening. Let's get into it.
Anyway, right, so next up are the Manchester Giants. The big Manchester Giants. Now, they have been in the league for 11 years. They play arguably, I think, one of my favourite looking. It just looks nice. And there's some nice pictures of their arena. But what I really like about it is the game photos. It just looks like it kicks off there. It really looks like it kicks off. The only noteworthy thing to say, they've got that classic thing as well on their court, which is at the end, both baselines, it looks like a wall. Or score table or something like that. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So look.
So really nice looking court. Really nice looking court.
Nice,
but can you see what I mean? You got the wall on the baseline. Not like on the baseline, but you know what, at those ends. So you've got 2 sets of bleachers either side.
Yeah,
but
I'm not saying school gym thing, but we said that in the same before, didn't we? There's a lot of those teams that it's almost like no runoff.
But look at that. That looks like absolutely kicking off there. That's what I like about that.
That's good, isn't it? Seeing all those people going to a game.
Yeah.
First and foremost. And then when people say, do people go watch basketball? It's like, build the stadium, you'll fill it. That's how many people want to see it because it's an exciting game.
But what I like about this arena in particular, there were some really nice court pictures, which a lot of the other teams don't do. So you can see the court here, some really nice court pictures. So you can appreciate the court for what
is that
it
like
is.
you got a nice like a VIP area and stuff as well? Is that right?
Again, that's maybe. Actually, that might be behind one of the things, and the photos are being taken.
That's
at
what I
this
was
end.
thinking. Like from this end, you're looking down that way.
Yeah, there could be like a VIP down the baseline. Either way, look, it's really nice to look.
And is that where Team
Lovely
GB
colours.
do stuff as well? Because isn't it Manchester that's the Team GB stuff that they do or have done in the past? Based on it being central or near central of the country or something, I guess.
Are you talking about like men's senior program?
Wasn't it when we had Andy Rowland on the show, didn't he say about going up to Manchester because it was sort of in the middle? Was it Birmingham?
I think you're talking about the whole GB, not the senior team, but all the over 30s, 40s, all the master stuff. So I think there are 2 areas to this, is my understanding. You've got the Maxi and then the FIBA. And I couldn't tell you, but yeah, they're based around the Midlands. I think the Maxi go up and down the country depending on who's in the team, and I think the FIBA go around the middle of the country, I think.
Okay.
But so the Manchester Giants, great court. I would say, and I don't think this is being harsh, there's a bit of mid-table obscurity. Finished 5th and 6th for the last couple of seasons, and they've been kicked out the playoffs, quarterfinals last 2 years. But look, they're in it.
Yeah, 100%.
And again, it's same thing for the cup trophies, quarterfinals and stuff like that. But that's the one thing that stood out. I have got one thing I'm going to throw out there. Yeah, so it's a 2,000-seater stadium.
Nice.
And they've only been in the league since 2012. So they're still quite a new team.
Okay.
In respect to, I think the Bristol Flyers, you said, joined the league in 2014. So they're just 2 years older than the Bristol Flyers. So they're still quite a young club. The one thing that threw me with the Giants, first of all, I love the name, the Giants.
Yeah.
I do love the name. The logo really threw me, because when I first saw it, I was like, that logo is horrible. What is that? And the more I look at it, the more I think it's genius. It just looks...
Really?
I just love the logo. I really like the logo. The more I look at it, the more I like, the M and the G come together, and it looks like it's forming this badge.
That's what I thought it looked like.
Napster.
Yeah. And now when you look at it, you'll see it.
You could say, maybe like a cat or a fox, but I love the way it looks like a shield.
Yep.
And then I'm not sure what that star signifies. Is that a star or a cross? That gold star? Maybe they've won a European title. I don't know what that signifies. But the more I looked at the logo, the more I actually liked it. It reminds me of Real Madrid, like their logo.
Yeah, I mean,
I really liked it. Do you like the logo? Not sure.
I like the fact that someone would ask about it. What is that? Is that they would say, "Oh, what is that?" And you go, "Oh, it's a team." So I do like that element of it because it's not obvious what it is. Is it a luxury brand? Again, like the London Lions, the same sort of. It's like they've gone to that same design ethos of let's make a very clean cut brand. But I think they've done it better there because it looks less tacky. I think probably the best way to put it. I think it's a very clean, like you say, because of the shield. I think it looks like the Napster logo, but
the first time, like I said, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm not a fan of that. But then when I looked at it more and realised the shield, I was like, I really like that. That is one of my favourites.
If you look at it from the side, it looks like the bullet dude from Super Mario. The massive bullet that gets shot. No?
I can't see that.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just looking at it now for the MG as a shield.
Yeah, I would
really
think
like
that
it.
was a football team of some
Yeah,
sort that I
really like
didn't
it.
know. Yeah. Just doesn't have the time with basketball. There's not an obvious
Yeah, but
basketball.
it looks like, for me, if you said that logo is for a club that is 11 years old, I'd go, no way. That club's 100 years old. It just says legacy. It says strength, power. I really like that one. Simple, really effective.
Nice.
So
how have they done? You know, they've always done well.
No, like I said, they've only been in the league just over a decade, and there is a little bit of mid-table obscurity. I don't think I've been harsh there, but like last two seasons, they finished 6th, then 5th before that. But before that, they've been in the bottom third of the table.
Yeah.
Since they've come in. But look, they're a new club, and it's just in the last 2 years they've gone from the bottom of the table, now they're mid-table.
Look, I had the same thing with Cheshire. It's not that it's you can't say there's a journeyman, but at the end of the day, some teams like invariably will always sit higher up. Yeah. Some will be in the middle, tussling. I think what's common is there's not too many teams that have just always perpetually been at the bottom, and that's a nice thing to see at least.
Yeah. And you know what? They had an amazing cup run, not last season, but the season before that, where they lost in the final. So you know what? If you were looking for a team that is up and coming, and you could root for rather than just going straight at the top, Giants could be one. I love the Giants. That's a great name.
That is a good strong name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makes me think of the New York Giants. Though.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I quite like it. So that's the Giants, Mark.
Well,
who's up next?
Do you have there any favourites of yours so far?
If I had to pick one, I don't know. I feel like I need to watch a couple of games, if I'm honest with you. If I had to base it on, logo, I'd be going towards one thing. If I had to base it on kit, I might go to another.
Okay.
Don't know.
So it brings me on to the one I think is tricky. And it's tricky when I'll show you the picture.
Okay.
They are the most decorated BBL team.
Oh, really? This is
7-time winners of the championship. 7-time winners of the playoffs, obviously. 6-time winners of the BBL Cup. 7-time winners of the BBL Trophy.
Wow.
And their MVPs are in sort of the mid 2010s, 2015s. They got a lot of MVPs, and also in late 90s. Oh, actually, early 90s, 89, 90. They had an MVP. But they've won the league. But they've done a lot, and this is Newcastle. Newcastle Eagles. Kind of like that. Eagles.
Actually, can I just add? This is a really good point.
No.
The oldest clubs in the BBL are the Eagles the London Lions and the Leicester Riders.
Yep. That makes sense with the Riders and I guess London as well.
So Newcastle, they're a big boy.
They're the big monster, I'd say. 1987, 88, they joined the BBL. 36 seasons in it, being in the playoffs 27 times.
Oh God, they're in it every year then, aren't they?
They are an absolute animal. There's no question of that. And when you look at what's their positioning in the last few years, interestingly, 6th, 4th, 9th, 8th haven't been as successful. Probably, I'll say post-COVID, basically. Anything pre-COVID, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 2nd, 1st. They were hammering it. So COVID actually really scuppered them, unfortunately. They got a lovely stadium and they play it called
they're approaching 3,000. They're just under 3,000.
Yeah, it's quite a nice looking place, the Virtu Arena. It's there you go, check that out. That's what it looks like. Obviously.
It's a bit like what you were saying. Oh damn, that is nice.
Yeah.
That has got
and that's
to
a
be
3,000 seater. That's the one.
But you know what? The difference between that and the others.
Look at that.
But you go around the whole court.
You go around the whole court.
Makes such a
difference. And they've got screening off at the front, which is you've got this white runoff here, then a screen you see in the front, so you're seeing right in front.
It's unique. But yeah, I mean that is very
cool,
eye-catching.
Very
really
eye-catching.
Cool.
And so they're doing everything right there. They obviously have dropped off from COVID. They've really been hit because they went from being 1st and 2nd and 3rd in like the leagues to then sort of being like 6th and 8th, and you think you've got 10 people in there, 10 teams, and they've gone dropping down to 8th. So something clearly they've lost players, and I don't know the history exactly, but their history was always like in the early 70s. They were in Sunderland based, and then they were called like the Maestros and the Saints. The Austin Rovers, Sunblessed, and all sorts of crazy ones. They were even called the 76ers at one point. The Sunderland 76ers.
I love the kit. Really like the kit.
Then they were called the Saints. Maybe you're not a fan of that. Then the Scorpions. Then the Newcastle Comets. Then the Newcastle Eagles, which is the 96 to now. My only problem with them.
Yeah, I know. I think I know what you're going to say here.
Who did the logo? And look, I am not here to beat on everyone's logos. London, you've gone for something fancy. It hasn't worked, but whatever.
Let them go,
No.
Mark. Let them breathe.
Look,
let the Lions
Manchester
go.
Giants, they've gone off-piste in terms of a logo, and they've done something different, and I respect that. That's fine. But this one is, you can't get away from the fact this looks like something from the Third Reich. This looks like something straight out of a World War.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's got past to like marketing or kind of. It looks like it would be at the top of a flagpole in Germany, 1930s.
Yeah, and it's not even. And we're not, we're avoiding the obvious connotations, but everyone knows what we're talking about here. And if you go look at Newcastle Eagles and look at their logo, I genuinely think if you were a player, you would be put off wearing that. And that sounds really silly because you think it's just a logo and it's obviously not something that has, hatred connotations, but it looks exactly like that sort of thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it's also monochromatic. That's the other thing, everything's in black and white. Everything's very, you've got it looks very, very, not ideal.
No, I completely agree, and I mean I don't think we need to say any more.
No,
but you know what? That court is beautiful.
Yeah, what a stunning court, and stunning that they've put the not bleachers, but they've actually put seating. Here's bleachers behind.
Well, if they get in touch with the show and invite you to go up, are you gonna be scared? Are you gonna go up?
Why am I gonna be scared?
Wow.
I will be. If anyone, any of the teams, in all seriousness, we really are nice people and we love basketball. We're just pointing out flaws, and we are, we're nitpicking here with a lot of this stuff. But this logo in particular, I think they gotta look at that again, because If you are trying to appeal to the mass market in all genuine seriousness, someone's going to look at that and go.
And also, eagle. Like, you could get some really cool
Philadelphia Eagles, the Seattle Seahawks,
like
all
big
that.
wide wings.
They could do something
ball
very
behind.
funky.
Yeah.
Rather than a black square with just the word Eagles on it and then some
Yeah, I think
symbol that looks like it's
they've missed it.
like,
Wow, you said it.
yeah, but it is what it is. You can't hide from it. It just, I don't know. But flip that around, look at their stadium, look at the stuff, and obviously the heritage they got in basketball. That's awesome.
I
And
mean,
that is so exciting. Why are they not promoting that?
I mean, it's a major.
Their website and everything
area
all
player.
looks really, really good.
So you're not going to support the Eagles?
Do you know what? I'm going to say this. If they change their logo, I would seriously consider that. I cannot get on board with wearing that. I can't do it. And I don't care if there's some wonderful thing in history. Their club history only goes back to like the sort of 70s, 80s. The club history doesn't go back.
Let's see if Paul Blake and Ken Nottage will change the logo for you, Mark.
Yeah, they're going to give me a ring, aren't they? Yeah. I don't want to hold my breath.
Yeah. It looks great. I agree with you with the logo. I mean, I think one of the nicest arenas from what I've seen.
You know what? Like, in all seriousness, it'd be nice to see all of these stadiums.
You have just ruined any invites we could have got to London Lions or Newcastle Eagles. Well done.
I don't think anyone's going to be my
Well
fan.
done.
That's fine. That's okay. We're all allowed opinions. They're like butts. Everyone's got one.
Right, let's move on. Right, so next up, let me move on because I've got all that Newcastle stuff there. That was very cool. So next up, I had the Plymouth City Patriots.
Just going back to Newcastle before you say Plymouth.
You're gonna ruin.
I'm not
Plymouth's thing.
I'm not
'cause
taking
you're
it
still
away.
going about it.
I just want to say, did you even know that Newcastle were the most
Decorated?
Most decorated. Did you even know that?
No.
It's funny, isn't it? It goes back to what you were saying again at the beginning. Like I looked at it and thought it was going to be London.
Well, I think everyone just goes, yeah, London Lions, it's the one you know. But
Yeah.
we didn't know some of these cities had teams, so. But yeah.
Or even if we knew the team, we didn't know the name, or we knew the name but not the team or where it was located, and it's never been distributed in the way it has. So hopefully now, with money and a bit of oomph behind it, more people will pick it up.
Yeah. Right. Can you stop ruining Plymouth now, please? Yeah.
I make no promises.
Right. The Plymouth City Patriots. Right. These are the new boys, Mark. So they've only actually been in the league for 2 years, and it might be them.
How did they get in?
I don't know how they got in. Was that a throw under the bus? Do you know the answer to that?
No. When you said they've only been in the league 2 years, I was just I didn't know. Because, the part of the reason we're doing this is because we both admit we don't really know a lot about the BBL because it's never ever been really promoted well and it's never really been pushed. And we live in that South Coast, and obviously since the main National League teams in our local area folded, we didn't really have anything to go and watch, and there's no stadiums or anything here, so it sort of fell by the wayside, and then we just followed the NBA. That was it. So it's always, I think it's interesting knowing, well, how long they've been around, and why don't we know about them?
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's the thing.
everything.
We had a few people, quite a few people come to us and say, "What about the BBL? Are you going to ever talk about the BBL or some of the other leagues?" And we went, "Well, let's put this out there and see how it goes down, and go from there." So, right, do you know I said there was a team? Do you know they all look? The arenas look like hangars.
Yes.
And I said one goes up on the thing. There it is. It's Plymouth.
That's nice.
So as it goes back, I don't know if it's the photo, but it's like as it goes up in the hangar, as each row goes back, it becomes less and less. It almost does this arc.
So
That's what it looks like.
So they're team green. Very Bostonish.
Yeah, it looks nice. Nice home court. Again, not loads of pictures on the actual arena without players and stuff like that, but you can see it's quite new. So not as many on the baseline as well, but I mean that looks nice. So I think the arena is
that's quite
1,500.
Okay, so again, that's around that same sort of number,
and they call it the pavilion.
That's quite interesting. With maybe it's obviously this picture, I don't know, but in particular, it seems quite dark.
All the pictures are very dark,
and yet all of the lighting is on the state. Yeah. So I wonder if anyone watches at the home games or plays there, would those spotlights put you off a bit? And I know it's going to sound really bizarre, but
I think they've all got the same thing, and you're only noticing it because of the way the camera's going up.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's what I think. But you know what? Just look at the court. You know, I've seen a few different pictures where, you know, they've got that key coloured in green. Others, it's not. I hope it is coloured in green. That looks lovely. It looks really nice.
It's just really not nice. A colour you can wear, is it?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but you know what? If you're a supporter of the team, you're a supporter of the team. But these guys, these are the new boys. So if, you know, potentially, I'm just going to throw this out there. If you're new to the BBL, why not follow a new team to the league? And this is the newest team as it stands. So they've only been in the league 2 seasons, and they managed to get into the playoffs in their second season. Sorry, really in their first season. In their first season, they got to the quarterfinals. And yeah, you know what? Yeah, it looks like an up and coming team.
Oh, okay. So they were originally the Plymouth Raiders.
Yeah. So I think you're throwing me here, but the
Plymouth Raiders. That's what they used to be. And it says that
I think they still go in National League though, in the NBL.
Yes. So what they had was there's a few articles that I knew I'd seen that little logo somewhere, and they said that the Raiders are going to withdraw from the BBL for the 2021-22. I don't know what it was for or the reasons. I'm sure there's wikis got all that stuff. But then they said they're going to rebrand it and rename it, and then they sold that franchise to the new team.
So the Plymouth Raiders are still going because the Portsmouth Force played them.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Yeah, they just had a play them, didn't they?
And I mean they beat the Force by 2, and looked like a really close game. But the Patriots. I mean, just to finish on that, I do like the logo's all right. I do like the logo. I like that shield look. You like the old logo?
The Plymouth Raiders logo. That's really cool, isn't it? The old fox.
Yeah, looks okay.
Got ball in it.
So I mean, it looks very. I mean, it's original, quite football-y, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm nonplussed by that. I wouldn't know what it was for. It could be a drink. It could be a energy drink or something.
You're being ruthless with people today. This is their 3rd season, Mark, and you say you like their logo.
I won't say I like it, just I don't like it. I like that it's round, and I like the fact that they've got the colours in it because I like those colours. I just don't know what the bit is in the middle of it. I don't think a logo needs to be explained.
But it's not. It's all right. It's all right.
It's certainly not offensive to anyone. That's for sure.
Your last one. Are you going to upset more people?
I can neither confirm nor deny. Sheffield Sharks. Get in there, you Sharks.
Wow. Could this be like is this now your team?
No.
The Sharks?
No.
Oh, you've already decided then?
No. But Sheffield Sharks, 94. So they've been around 29 years in the BBL. And they've, out of those 29 years, 28 playoff appearances.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. 4-time winners of the championship, 3-time winners of the cup, and 2-time winners of the BBL trophy. So they've done really, really well. And it looks like they maybe had a blip last season, 7th place. But year before that, 2nd, 5th, 7th, 6th, 8th, 4th, 3rd. This goes on. They've sort of ping-ponged around a little bit. Maybe not most consistent team necessarily, but it's nice to see they've got that sort of history, and their history is quite good because they've got. They were called the Forgers because Sheffield in the UK, for those who don't know, is famous for Sheffield steel, and they were forging. There's lots of forgers, so they were called the Forgers. 91 and 94, they were the Forgers, and they changed it to the Sharks, and they've been that way ever since.
Why did they change to the Sharks?
I don't know. They said that it was purchased, so someone rebranded it when they purchased it in 94. So it was just they sold it and went, no thanks.
So maybe it's easier to market.
What's interesting is they said, like, in one of the little notes, it was that they played in a McDonald's Championship in London in like the mid-90s with people like the Houston Rockets and some Spanish league teams, and you think, oh, they were obviously pretty good and up there, but to be involved in all that sort of stuff. So they play in this really interesting arena, shall we say.
Is that the Park Community Arena?
Yeah. So
I can't see any pictures of it.
Well, that's the one that I showed you, and it's called the very, very intriguing if my computer wants to load at any point. Oh, it's having one of those days, isn't it?
So, yeah. So this is B Brawn. What's that? B Brawn Sheffield Sharks.
Yeah, it's just the logo. It's just who owns them. But they have got some really nice looking arena. I can't get the pictures up now. They were literally loaded up. It's that place. That one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Again, both ends are a wall.
And it
baselines.
Looks like an aircraft hangar.
I like that though.
Yeah,
like that.
That looks really. Can you imagine the atmosphere in that?
Yeah, that is going to be. Someone hits a big time three,
and you're hitting those noises, and all of a sudden you're hearing like, and then everyone's shouting and screaming.
What are those lines? Are they the lines on the court?
Badminton.
Is it really?
No.
I can't see it. I can't see it from here. It's quite small.
I'm trying to.
Is it a purest basketball court? Is what I'm saying. It looks like it, but there's that one line coming down.
Well, they're calling it the Olympic Legacy Village, and it's like a giant cannon building and stuff that they've done. So they're saying that all of these places, inside it, there's a load of pictures that are up online, and they're
yeah.
This is the first season, but again, first season that they're playing in it. So we've had some that are investing for new ones coming up. We've got some that are just starting this year in new stadiums, and we've got others that maybe moved a year or two ago. Everyone's invested in this league, and that's why 777 went in and paid $7 million. Imagine how much some of the, I don't know, highest paid sports people get paid.
Yeah.
You literally say, not you could buy a team, but you could buy a league for $7 million. It seems awfully cheap, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, Mark, if I win the Euros, I've got a new team coming in.
Well, you've seen some of the prices now. Was it 20 million for that other one?
Yeah, that's the Gladiators one. So that was I think that was 1,600.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's some of the building work inside.
Yeah, when you look at it, it's basically they build an aircraft carrier, don't they?
Yeah.
Sorry, a hangar.
Yeah.
And then they fill it. I mean, I love
Amazing.
it. That looks brilliant. I love that idea. Build effectively a big rectangle, make it like an aircraft carrier, and
that's probably, I won't say the good and bad, but all of these places that we've talked about, Bristol, Chester, London, Newcastle, Sheffield, all the places that you talked about, they're all big cities. And yet they're building these quite big venues in cities that, you don't really associate with large amounts of room. But that's one of the things I guess that the NBA does, and NFL to a degree. But when you go and see one of those stadiums, they're huge. They're in the middle of a city, aren't they? They're massive.
Yeah, I mean, they got more room. I mean, but that isn't just a basketball stadium. I think on one of the pictures, I'm not sure which team it was, but one of the pictures, there was like a boxing ring in the middle.
Yes,
and they had it
was
a boxing match.
That was, I think it was the Eagles.
But they'll be doing that for all the teams,
exactly.
I'm assuming.
But and that's the thing. If you imagine in Caledonia, they're saying they're making that massive stadium, and obviously the one in London Lions, they do other games there as well. If you think you've got 3,000, even just 3,000, I won't say even 3,000 people you can sit sky's the limit really there, isn't it? You can host all sorts of things, indoor football, indoor anything, as long as you buy the floor and put it down.
Well, the Sheffield Sharks, I quite like the logo. Not messing with that shark. Not messing with him.
I like it because you just see sharks. There it is. You can't see the word Sheffield necessarily.
That could just be my picture and the way I'm zoomed in though.
No, it's when you see the other things, it's the same.
I hope the mascot is a shark. They can make it a nice friendly one, Mark. You know, but big
like the friendly lion, yeah.
But they could make
no one wants
shark.
No one wants a friendly.
They could make a shark coming out. That'd be quite good.
Hi, let's make an apex predator, and then let's take this apex predator and make it soft and fluffy and cuddly and warm and friendly.
Wow.
Do you want to go swim and cuddle a great white?
Has someone upset
you
today?
Feeling just touch the shark,
what I mean?
give me a squeeze.
You want kids to go up and have that picture taken with it, so you want it a bit friendly. So I get that.
Yeah, but if you've got a shark, what do? Here's the picture. You lean forward and they put their head in the shark's mouth.
I just had a great idea. Please, please, please tell me that at some point in their intro, you got the Jaws music dun dun for the build up for them coming out before their music. That's got to happen, isn't it?
I mean, you'd like to think so. Not sure.
Or every time they hit a free throw, dun 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 dun, or a big shot, dun 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 dun. Dun. Oh, it's got to happen. Is it a shark?
Looks like a shark.
Yeah, I mean, looks right. But I do like that logo. I quite like that.
The only thing I thought of it when I originally thought of it is it looked like, it reminded me, and it's not in a bad way, of, you know, the crocodile, the Lacoste crocodile on the t-shirts that you get.
Oh yeah.
You know, like the Ralph Lauren polos, the polo player, and then all the other brands have copied with a little, you know, a penguin there or an animal, you know, like an animal on the side there. From a distance, that's just like a shark. And as I say, you can't see the Sheffield bit. That, I mean, I'm nitpicking here. I think it's a solid logo.
Well, you're comparing it to huge brands, so I think they'll take that, Mark.
Yeah, of course I will. 100%.
I think they'll take that.
I don't think I've said anything that is in any way untrue. I haven't made something up. I'm just saying what I see, because I will be honest, most of these logos I had not really seen until today.
Yeah, I mean, and we did that deliberately so we could be saying what we thought. Whether we should or not, I don't know, but
yeah, you know.
But yeah, so right, last one. Unless, do you want to say anything else about
No,
Sheffield?
No, I think they, you know, decent arena, getting built, and there's, you know, all that sort of going. So difficult to say right this second what that's going to look like. But
I think the thing that keeps coming up, repeated over and over again, is investment.
Everything's about investment, isn't it?
Is new state arena builds, all this stuff. It's and yeah, you can't not look at it and get excited by this.
So when the BBL was bought, and then all that investment came in last year, it was this is 2023 at the moment. So it was October, I think, 2022, for example, that Bristol Flyers chairman said, "Yep, we're definitely building the new stadium." So it was almost, and I'm just going out on a limb here, but it was almost like the owners of the clubs were waiting for someone to grab hold of the league and say, "Right, let's make this into something."
Investment, yeah.
But we've got the money. I mean, the people who own these clubs, some of them are billionaires. They've got the money to burn and to, you know, put into it in the right places. But they're like, well, what's the point? I won't say if not, we're not going to get a return on it, but they are business people at the end of the day. This is a business. So they're not just going to throw money at the wall just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But no.
Well, last one.
But not least. But not least.
Is the Surrey Scorchers.
Are they the closest team to us?
They are Guildford, so yes, they got to be. So Surrey Scorchers. Now, I am aware of these guys because there was a who did he play for? He played for, I want to say the Kestrels maybe, but there's a guy called Adam Riabi. I'd seen him play. I don't think I ever played against him, but I've seen him play. Very good player, very good player. Now he went and played for. You're looking at me with a face. So the reason you recognise that name, he's got a younger brother, Zach, who played for the Force last year. So yeah, Adam Riabi, he went and played for Surrey before taking his talents international last season. And so I kind of was aware of the team that way. So over the lot, I mean, they've been in the league, Mark, for about 18 years. So almost their second decade in the league. Now, I don't know what the story is, but the one that jumped up really early was in their second season in the league. They finished first in the championship.
Really?
But in the playoffs, they ended up in fourth place.
Oh, no.
And I was like, wow, there's a story there.
Wow.
I mean, I'd have to go back through all the teams and see how many times a team has won the championship and not won the playoffs. It looks like more recently, maybe they do the double, but let's go and check that. Maybe that's an episode.
That is an episode. I mean, I'm looking at some of these pictures. Interesting.
What are you looking at? The sport. Very similar, isn't it?
Yeah. So they've only got bleachers on one side.
Yes, it looks like it. So all the photos that they take are from one side. So it looks like it's quite big, but it's not. But Mark, that is still a 1,000 seater stadium. So when you see that picture from up there,
yeah,
that's when you realise how many people that goes up, that bleacher on that side.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, that's a high bleacher.
And also, what they've done is, I don't know if you'll see a picture here, but on this wall here, this is a massive screen, and that'll go, "Let's go Scorchers." I love these scoreboards as well, which gives you
the fact it's blue. I think that looks great. Yeah,
it's a big contrast, isn't it?
No badminton courts.
Again, it's this contrast of like an aircraft hangar, isn't it?
You go there, I think all of these teams have done it. You go to their home stadium and you know that's their stadium.
It's unique.
Yeah. And this one stands out up there with a lot of them, actually, because it's all painted blue and with that screening.
Yeah, the blue and then the black on the court. I really like it.
I mean, if you had...
Maybe I'm being biased because of Adam and Zach, but
if you had other bleachers up there, that's a...
I'm assuming there's no scope to... I mean, you've got to knock down a wall there, haven't you? But, so, yeah, I mean, so they've been in the league, but they have... they've won, like I said, won the championship, but that was back in 2007, and since then... I mean, I would say they're a yo-yo team. They're a real yo-yo team. So, sometimes they finished fourth 10 years ago, then they're at the foot of the table, then they're up to fifth 5 years ago, and more recently, they're back down to the foot of the table.
Do you know what? They're one of the first teams in their slide deck. They've got a picture of the team playing first, and then the second picture is that. Yeah,
like a real family.
Loads of kids there. And then because they've got that tall bleacher, it's just packed. It is every single picture.
I like the picture from the top of the actual bleacher looking down. That's when you realise, hang on, this is a lot higher than it looks from there. When you see it from up the top compared to where it's on the court, it looks a lot higher. I would say, in fairness, I think there's a few... I think I want to say the Newcastle, I think they had a few family pictures. Right, yeah, look, see how high up that is?
Yeah, that's a tall bleacher.
That looks really cool from there. And I like the player scoreboards on each side and then your huge screen going, "Go Surrey."
Do you know what? Actually, looking at that, that makes me think of a film. Like we've all watched a high school film.
I was going to say high school basketball, yeah.
Not college, obviously, but like a high school thing, isn't it? Obviously, their bleachers probably aren't as big as that, but that's like a high school court, isn't it, bro?
And I reckon, because it's on one side, you're just going to have a wall of noise, isn't it? Just a wall of noise coming out on the court.
Well, I'd love to know more about that, and because there's viewing platforms here. I don't know if there's viewing platforms behind or anything, but
yeah. Well, the other thing about the Scorchers, I'm a fan of their logo. I love the logo. I mean, you can see it there. So Surrey Scorchers, you know, ball on fire. You know, they're called the Scorchers. Get it. Reminds me a little bit like Miami and the Heat. I love it. I think that's a really good.
And the Orlando, you know, when the one of, I can't remember which generation it was, when they had the ball that was swooping in. Yeah. And it was.
But that's a
got ball in it, you know, it
nice
wins my
logo.
vote.
Nice logo. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I want to say not to be critical of them, but you know I like to be critical of everyone. It's only fair, seeing as I've absolutely.
Well, Mark, I don't think your criticism has been equally spread.
It hasn't. No.
So what are you going to criticise them
I just
for?
thought their website's pants, pretty much.
I didn't think it was too bad.
Comparative to the other teams.
No, in some of the other teams, I think it's a little unfair in certain aspects because, you know, that isn't a bad basketball website, but you're now comparing it to like NBA standard, aren't you?
Well,
so
and this,
who had the really good Leicester Riders?
Yeah,
they had the really
yeah,
good. So that is your standard.
Yeah.
And then, but that would be a better website than so much other stuff out there.
Oh yeah.
But it's just that you're setting an extremely high standard.
I mean, you go onto any of those other ones, and they're just a more polished version.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the Leicester one really stood out for me. It's not as I didn't like the Lions particularly, but it is what it is.
Mark, there are a few teams that you came across tonight like you didn't like. No, but look at those. I mean, Mark's just going through some of the websites. They look very professional.
Yeah.
Just some look like they got a higher standard than others.
Right. I'm picking at this because the reality is, what we should really be doing is looking at this on our phones or on an iPad or something. Because how many people sit there and look at a website on a laptop that aren't your brother, basically?
Well, I mean, and just I mean, that's the Surrey Scorchers. That's the closest club to us. Just go in.
We should go for a game.
The current, you know what? I mean,
we're talking about this. We should go for a game.
Yeah, I think we should.
We can't really pop to Caledonia or Newcastle.
Why, Mark? Why not?
Not particularly accessible.
Just get in a car and drive out there. It takes 7-8 hours. I mean, not Caledonia, but
good for you.
That might, you know. Hey, if
that's commitment.
If you were invited and they said, Mark, look, come up.
I've done longer drives, so yeah, sure.
Exactly. Never say never.
I've driven to Newcastle and back in the day. That's fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget that.
I wasn't a fan of it, but I did it.
But the current season has started, and I mean, London Lions. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing here.
Technical error.
No, I just went back to some of the old previous seasons and just having a look at it. But so London Lions, they're currently at the top, but they have played one more game than everyone else. They're undefeated, but the Newcastle, your favourite team, Newcastle Eagles, are also undefeated.
Yeah.
But London are just above them, just purely on games played. But then you've got the Sharks, Sheffield Shark, Bristol Flyers, the Gladiators and Phoenix, and the Riders, who have only literally played 2 games, won 1, lost 1.
Who's your favourite kit?
I actually really liked the Newcastle kit.
Yeah,
I just like the stripes.
It looked really good. I mean, it's, I must say, tied in with the football, but there's that same thing again.
It's a bit like Barcelona.
Yeah.
When you look at you got the football kit and then the basketball kit, exact same thing. I quite like that.
Yep.
But you know what? I haven't put any energy, if I'm honest, looking at all their different variations of kits. And it looks like some of them have got variation of their kits for European play.
Yes.
As well. So, but I will go back and say, we got to see if the Scottish team has got a kilted, what's the word I'm after?
I mean, that's one of my favourites.
Oh, the Flyers.
Yeah, that's a cool looking kit. That's exactly the same as the Miami kit that they did pretty much.
Yeah, but look at their logo. It's really big, so you see it straight away. Flyers, You see the plane.
Yeah.
I think we should make a pledge that at some point we should turn up and do a podcast in a BBL jersey.
Oh, I thought you said it in a BBL arena then.
Well, we could do that. You just need to be invited. You know, we'll do that. You know, you've probably blown our chance for a quarter of them. But, yeah.
Look, everyone's allowed an opinion.
Yeah. But you know what? What I think the important thing is, you know, we're listening to our audience. So we had, you know, quite a few people talking about the BBL, and we went, look, let's present this and see where it goes from here. So I guess the plan is you're going to look at the numbers and see if this takes off. This might be turn into a BBL podcast. Is that what the plan is?
I think there is scope, certainly, for the UK basketball scene just having a bit more representation out there, because at the moment it doesn't.
Okay, well, let Mark, like Isaiah Thomas once said, the numbers never lie. Yeah. So let's see what comes up.
Isaiah said many things.
Let's see what comes up, and yeah, I mean, you know, we can really delve into that. So, is there a team out of that 10 that stand out for you? If you had to say, this is the team I follow, or are you gonna let it sieve?
I don't know. I like some of the stories of some of the teams where they've worked their way up. I quite like the fact that Bristol got promoted. They were 2 teams that became 1 and then got promoted up into the BBL. I like that kind of story. That's nice. I like the logo. The kit's kind of cool, and I like what they're doing there. So I do. But the ringer for me was Newcastle.
Wow, that alarm went off.
Yeah, the alarm outside went off at the same time.
When you said Newcastle, that could be a sign.
Yeah,
from Jesus, Mark.
Who?
That could be a sign. So Newcastle. Oh, the Eagles.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because and listen, and it was not going to make any sense. But I just didn't appreciate their history and how, you know, they've been in that league for so long, doing something so well. And if you don't know the geography of the UK, because we've got quite a lot of listeners now who are not in the UK, which is fantastic. But the UK, as it's shaped, if you imagine it's like a big boot pointing left, then
I always thought it was a triangle.
Okay, you go for the triangle. Then at the top of the triangle, you've got Scotland, and you've got Glasgow and Edinburgh, and not far away from that is Newcastle. It's not a million miles away. So
I'm just sharing the map.
But their nearest teams, they're like you were saying earlier, like other than Plymouth, it's the same sort of scenario. They didn't really have anyone around them. So to have that sort of, you know, and it's not being on London in a bad way, but they're London, it's the capital city. You would expect the most populated place in the UK to have at least one decent team. And obviously they do, but you would expect that in a way. Same as Manchester, you would expect a very big populated city.
Newcastle as well.
Newcastle,
Sheffield.
very big. Sheffield, yeah. Nowhere in Birmingham. Kind of surprised.
Well,
quite populated, but
don't forget, there is scope that there's some new proposed teams coming in.
What were they again?
You got the Reading Rockets,
yeah,
Birmingham, and Edinburgh.
Oh,
now I would say, I mean, this isn't.
Come on, we're rewriting history now.
Well, I would say if you're going to support a new team, maybe go for one of those and join them on their journey. That's something you could do.
Oh, that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's saying from what I'm reading here that their proposed first season, I believe, is this season. Well, they're not. So I don't understand the setup of the BBL. So we would have to understand.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
The reasoning behind that.
I mean, no one's playing at the moment, are they? Unless it's the same as the NBA. Because some of the teams, didn't they have like 1989 or 1980 is when their team's official, but then it didn't actually play their first game until 1991 or something.
Look at this, Mark. I just found the honours board. Newcastle right at the top.
Yeah.
Leicester second. The Guildford Kings. Sheffield Sharks. London Towers, that's the one I would have played against.
See, the Towers. See, that's where I'm looking at thinking. Yeah. When you think of London, you think of the Towers. That's the heritage there.
Yeah. I mean, they really crashed down.
Leicester, incidentally, that was the other one. So if I have I won't say a top three, but for me, it'd be Leicester, Newcastle, and Bristol, because I think you can't overlook Newcastle because of their heritage and how long they've been doing it. Leicester, I loved their stadium. I loved the way they approached everything, and they're clearly a very, very good team as well.
I'm not laughing at what you just said. I'm laughing at this. The fact that the Portsmouth, this is Portsmouth FC Basketball Club. It just says Portsmouth here.
Yeah.
They are 19th in all-time rankings of honours in the BBL.
Well, that's cool, isn't it?
Solent Kestrels are 22nd.
Okay. There we are.
So the only reason the Portsmouth are above the Kestrels is because Portsmouth won the league and
Twice.
Kestrels, I think, won the cup. No, sorry, Portsmouth have won won a few things. They've won the championship, the playoffs, and a cup.
Yeah.
And the Kestrels just won the BBL trophy. I mean, that's a huge, huge thing to win. And
Just
don't
in
forget,
the same way you used the word, they just won it.
They were beating big teams when they won that. I remember watching it on. It was on TV, the final. But the journey Kestrels made to get there. Fair credit to him.
And that's that you're saying about there's new teams potentially coming into the league. That would make sense from the owner's perspective to get more people playing, although 13 teams is a bit of an odd number, so don't know how they're going to work that.
You know what I would say, and just before I say it, just to focus on this, so there's an update here. BBL application by the Reading Rockets Investment Group looking to establish a BBL franchise in Birmingham. I mean, look, major city, makes sense. I can't see anything about Edinburgh, but look, major city.
Where's Wales?
It's just like to the left of England.
Yeah, but Cardiff.
Yeah, Cardiff. I mean, look, we saw, a Div 3 team, and that standard was pretty good. I'm assuming they've gone up.
Yep.
And that was their second team.
They've got a Div 1 team, haven't they?
Yeah, so, there's scope there. I'm assuming this comes down to the financials. Like you've turned around and said.
But let's look in for the UK, again, for people who don't know. In terms of sporting cities, Cardiff is one of the well-known ones, certainly for like rugby and stuff like that. Football as well.
Well, just go back to this map here that I'm just showing you.
Yeah.
So just to put a visual for those listening, I'm looking at a map.
Well, Cardiff would be right next to the Flyers, pretty much.
It just highlights the teams. But, if you imagine if the league doubled, like you have a South Coast team, even if it was the Kestrels, Portsmouth or Kestrels, whatever, or even both, whatever, like down there.
Solent City.
Solent City.
There you go.
You've got you got a team in Wales. You could argue a team in Northern Ireland. You got Edinburgh coming here, Birmingham. You could have a Kent team, Ipswich, Norwich. You know what? If that league doubled, I bet those investors would be making money on their investment.
My gut would be there would be a second London team.
Look how many London teams there are in football.
Well, look how many London teams there are in football. Look at LA, you've got Clippers and Lakers. Look at New York and then New Jersey, or Brooklyn rather. But historically, having a second team very close is.
But I go back to one thing, and this is what I said at the very start, and that is, I'm sure you've got big support in these areas, because it wouldn't be happening otherwise. You've got big support in these areas for these clubs. Why don't we, as individuals, support the BBL? Why don't we pick a club? We support Portsmouth Force, but we could also follow another team in the BBL.
I have two questions.
Shoot.
I couldn't pick one off the list. I'd have to think about it because I'd want to get on board with them totally.
But the more teams that support it, the bigger the league is going to get.
100%.
The more that Sky Sports say we're not just about the NBA, we're about the BBL, the more people will be able to see it. Why is it on Sky News or the Sky Sports News? You don't have it pop up, or you don't see the highlights of the games.
So my question really, I guess actually 3-part, not 2.
Actually, I bet it does pop up on the bottom. I bet it does.
Doubtful. My first one would be, as I say, that's how it is at the moment. I don't really see anything about the BBL where someone who's looking at the NBA, someone who's actively looking at stuff and following things, and following posts and that. There's no guerrilla marketing. There's no let's grab the market of NBA Europe. Who's all the people in the UK looking at it? Let's piggyback off of them. Let's get it involved. I understand that you need marketing, you need money and stuff like that. But up until recently, the NBA Europe was in London, and then we lost that to Paris because we decided for some reason to go out of Europe. But up until then, UK has always had a really good connection with the US, and obviously that's the NBA. So why can't the BBL come back? Why don't basketball players have any interest in that? There's been a disconnect. So that's the question.
But that's what I think it is. What BBL team do you support? You don't. If I could go down to
no one knows it exists.
But the Portsmouth Force game, I could go down to every single person. Who do you follow in the BBL? They'd all say I don't know. And I know London Liars. That's probably what they would say.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that is why, hopefully, this show, maybe if people listen to it, maybe this show.
I mean, if they don't firebomb me, yeah,
we could talk about the BBL and give this information to people. And maybe it could turn into I don't know, an update show on the BBL.
If they're looking at it monetarily, who are the people who've got the money? Who are the people who are spending the money at the games? Who do you want people investing in and stuff like that? When you go onto some websites, they're selling merchandise, and they're selling merchandise that is really interesting things, or their mascot stuff, or there's key rings and stuff the NBA do, like bins and all that sort of stuff. Other teams, they're not yet, and you go, you have to have this whole story. What you've been doing with Portsmouth Force and doing the commentary, and then they're going to get stats in, and then they're bringing in some showtime, and then you get screens and you get some sound effects and all that sort of thing. They've got to bring all of that into these levels. And I watched, hand up, I watched some snippets of some London Lions things, and the atmosphere was good, but you think it's not an NBA game, and it's definitely not there. So there's still got a level of educating the crowds and educating people of, do you know how entertaining a basketball game is? It doesn't matter if you like the sport or not, or you don't really know anything about it. Just go to it. It's a really good, entertaining evening.
Yeah, and I think that's why with the Portsmouth Force, it's quite unique because we're doing the whole American thing.
Yeah.
So, all that.
And you've had people come up and say, this is up there with the Div 1 stuff. And you go, I don't think the Div 1 people are even doing it, because I don't
think anyone's doing the American stuff.
No, they're not.
And stuff like that.
Because they're not doing it, because you've got to have the bums on the seats to be able to do that. If you haven't got enough bums on the seats, who are you doing that for? The players?
We need to go and see a game.
Well, also, the other thing is, if they are going to do this and they are going to promote all this stuff, like you said, if you want to get behind it, what happens if your local team will never fit in with this league? Because it's like an ultra league, it's its own thing. So all of the leagues, like the local league, like an NBL league, so anyone in the divisions, how does the BBL impact them? And that would be my question. Because normally you'd think, I'm not very good with football, but there's a Premiership, right? Mm. And the Premiership is that's the number one tier. And even if I live around the corner and we play on a Sunday league team, if there was a cup, there's no reason why you couldn't end up playing one of the top tier teams, because that's how it works.
Well, I think that's the BBL trophy.
And that's the BBL trophy. But no teams in the NBL could get promoted. So if you had a Portsmouth Force, and we've joked about it that you're going to win the Euro Millions and pay 20 million and get a new stadium, but would that even be achievable? Because apart from having to go through the franchising and expansion plans and all that stuff, if you throw enough money at something, it always will happen. But how would that work in the league? Because the NBL's
you
capped.
Need to go to the league, and to get those answers. But if you got enough money, you can create a franchise, you're going to get in the BBL. So you can go straight into it, I would imagine.
I don't know who they bought that 45% of shares for 7 million, but they got the
bargain.
Absolute steal.
And look, if you double the teams in that league.
Is that how many you want? 20?
No. I would say, how many teams are in the NBA?
Really?
Off the top of your head, I don't know. What is it?
30.
30. Let's go for 30 then. 30 teams in that league.
No, you can't.
How many in the Spanish league?
How many are in the Premiership and stuff like
that? 20.
I think it's more sustainable size-wise.
If that doubled...
Like, if you took the West Country, you got Plymouth. You could probably have Exeter as well. That's another big city. Bristol is there.
South Coast. There's a few on the South Coast.
You know. You've got Brighton. Brighton's not on the map. Where you had Worthing Bears and stuff historically.
Kent.
Yeah, there's nothing over Canterbury Way, Ashford Way, anything like that. Like you said, Ipswich. Then Oxford in the middle here. Haven't got anything in Wales. And then in the mid country, actually, it's not actually too badly served. But then you've got nothing between that and Newcastle.
Yeah. And so, I'd go back and say, I think lots of people I've heard, some of the things I read, why isn't the BBL bigger? Why isn't that? And it's just like, I think sometimes we have to make the effort. That's what I would say.
But have you watched any highlights?
Yes, but you kind of got to go looking for it on YouTube or on their websites. So, but that's why I highlighted Sky Sports and stuff. It'd be great if you had BBL highlights like you do the NBA.
Yes, and I saw some of those highlights weeks back before we even thought about doing anything like this. And I don't know what it was about, but there was a 3-on-3 game, and then afterwards there was another highlight, and it was something to do with this. And you looked at it and thought, oh yeah, I'd go watch that. That looks absolutely fantastic. Not just as in the way that they put it out as the media and made it look good, but you actually thought, no, that's actually good quality basketball, And I just think people don't know it. What are you laughing at now?
I was just thinking of saying.
No.
Go on, carry on.
Get it out. Get it out your system.
No, I can't, Mark.
Oh, no. But seriously, I think there's actually good quality basketball, and the mistake that a lot of people have made is the NBA is the only product. Like, we don't even watch Euroball that much. And yet when you watch Spanish leagues, Bundesliga, stuff like that, it's really good competitive basketball.
Well, let's start talking about the BBL. I think that's the point. That is the point.
We're going to start doing that. And of course, if anyone from any of those teams is offended, my name's Paul.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You know what? I think we should go as far to say, I mean, you look at all the numbers and stuff. The numbers shoot up for this.
Yep.
Then we'll keep doing it for BBL as well.
Yep. And we would, 100%. And there's no... I'm not going to choose a team based on the fact that if someone in the BBL wants us to do any stuff, I would like to remain impartial. So for this moment, I will say no. I won't pick a team. But I will go out of my way to start watching it, because then I will be able to make a decision on what team I like. If I use this season, you think, how long did it take me to move away from the Sonics? I didn't have a team for, 12 years, pretty much, until I went, I'm going to pick the Mavs. But I just didn't have a team. Yeah,
I think sometimes you've got to be there and go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to follow this team.
Which you did, like with the Magic. It's the same thing. You followed Boston for so many years, but at the end of it, it's like you physically have watched more Magic games. You've been there, and there's something about, you get that connection. You think,
yeah, I'll follow them.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a couple of teams there where I've got.
Do you know why I chose Dallas?
To.
Do you know where Dallas came from in the end?
No idea.
They were made the year I was born. It was between two teams. It was the Magic and Dallas, and the only reason that Dallas got it is because they were there the year I was born.
You made the wrong decision, didn't you?
Well, if Luca doesn't put his finger out, maybe, yeah, but don't start me on Luca.
I'm just looking at. There's not one, Mark. There's not one when you were born. Damn.
No.
Damn.
1945.
So yeah, well, you know what? I think if 1,000 people email you with a club name, you got to support that club.
Oh no, come on. Not doing what?
1,000 emails and it just says like Plymouth Riders.
1,000 emails.
I said Plymouth Riders.
Wow.
Getting mixed up. Leicester Riders or Plymouth Flyers. And the first one that gets to 1,000, you got to support.
I'm just going to go on record and say I would put a jersey on. If someone said go put a jersey on, that's fine. But I am so pleased that all the teams are doing something and it exists. You know, and I think that's got to be the end note, that all of the pictures that you've seen, you know, however polished or whatever it is, they're all stadiums that are filled with people, families, everyone's going.
It's exciting.
It's exciting, and it's like, it feels like we're at it's almost like when we went to the Force games last, and it was like that was starting, everything's picking up, and you think this is quite exciting. We're seeing the birth of something again. It feels like that BBL is doing that.
Yeah. And
that's quite exciting. Place to be, I think, quite frankly. And, you know, hopefully in the next few years, it'll just get bigger and bigger.
Well, did you like talking about the BBL, Mark?
I do like talking about the BBL, and I'm not sorry if I offended anyone, but I kind of am. But, you know, is what it is. Anyway, I think that brings it to the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what? We were supposed to do this for 25 minutes.
That says something.
Yeah, it says we
that
talk
says
a lot.
Something.
But thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us. We really do appreciate every single download, every single listen. If you haven't listened to any of our stuff previously, which would be shocking, but if you haven't, go back and check it out. Portsmouth Basketball Podcast. Type it in anywhere, you'll get it on the streams. You can look it up on YouTube and everything else. But thank you so much for listening wherever you are and whatever you've been doing.
And if you got any badminton lines on your court, please remove them. Thank you. Good night.